What is going on, guys? It is Parker here bringing y'all another video. In this video, we're going to be looking at what, in my opinion, is probably one of the better bang for the buck subs that you can get for around 300 bucks. And I am super excited to be showing y'all this. As you all know, American Base is one of my favorite budget brands. They just make some incredible equipment. I've done the American Base Elite, the American Base XFL, and both of those subs were just spectacular. So I figured, time to step it up for y'all and get the American Base HD, the next step up. So stay tuned for that, guys. You're not going to want to miss it. American Base, you know I'm going to push it to its limits and really see what this bad boy can do. Stay tuned. And that says we put 10,000 watts going through it, guys. That is ridiculous. Alright, yes, guys, finally another American Base for y'all. Have been waiting to do this sub for absolutely forever, so super excited to have this. Of course, this is the HD 12-inch D1. Let's get right into it. First of all, it came in not one box, not two boxes, but 3 boxes, so very well protected. So I was happy to see that. We got a American Base decal, and then we got this little specs sheet. We'll go over here to the specs. I have the Dual 1, so the FS is 36 Hertz. Xmax is 21 millimeters. SPL is 86.5 dB. So I pulled it up on their website. It has a 3-layer foam surround and a 4-layer 3-inch voice coil. This is a double Conex spider system, so it is a little different than what you normally see. It looks to be super nice and it's really, really stiff. This has a 300-ounce motor, 2,000 watts RMS, so a pretty high RMS. Of course, 3-inch voice coil. It is a cast aluminum basket, even though it doesn't say so. And there are just some of the other specs. Now, I am happy these specs do match up with what is on their little spec sheet. If you saw my last SCAR video, their spec sheet said one thing, and then their website said something really pretty different, so that was pretty odd. But anyway, whatever, guys, let's get to checking out this sub. Well, guys, here it is. This thing is a big old beefy sub. Of course, has the same basket and some of the same features that you would get on the XFL, but we do have a big old motor down here, so that is very cool. Anyway, let's of course start with the top. Now, the first thing you're going to notice is the surround here. It has a real nice high roll surround that is double stitched. However, and I'm not sure why they did this, it does not have the big old rib surround that is on the Elite, the XFL, and then all the VFL subs, the VFL comp subs that are bigger than this. So for whatever reason, on the HD, they decided just to go with a more regular high roll surround. Again, no idea why. I really do wish it had the nice rib surround on it, but oh well, not a big deal. We have our dust cap, little on the flimsy side, but the same dust cap you'd see on the other American Base similar subs. I do believe if you get some of the VFL comp subs, they do have much stiffer, maybe carbon fiber dust caps, but I'm not sure. And then the cone is pretty stiff, but not the stiffest cone I have felt, so I do kind of wish that was a little bit stiffer. Just a real ordinary plain gasket around here. And then we have this awesome basket. I really do love this thing. It allows for a good deal of excursion and just looks really cool. Something a little bit different. So, love the basket on the XFL. So I'm sure I will love it here too. Of course, we have direct leads with 8-gauge wire. Seems to be really high quality copper wire. And then we have these really nice spiders. There's one down here, one up here. It's a little different than what I've seen on a lot of other subs, but seems to be real stiff. And then in here we have the big old 3-inch 4-layer voice coil. Looks a lot like the voice coil on the XFL. It's got kind of the matte black finish glue on it, so really like that. And there is glue on all of the bolts that hold the basket to the motor, so we don't got to worry about those backing out, hopefully. And then down here where it really makes this sub is, of course, this has got the big old 300-ounce motor as opposed to the 220-ounce motor that was on the XFL. We have a very clean, nice looking big old motor. We, of course, have center venting and pole venting around the sides to keep this thing nice and cool. Of course, American Base 300 ounce. We got the dual 1 ohm version. And then down here it says 4,000 watts max power. Now, I don't know why they do this. On some of their other subs, they put the RMS power. I really wish they would just kind of ditch the whole max power thing. I know a lot of their amps used to always say max power on it. And that's just a big gimmick, guys. That was kind of the cool thing back a few years ago, but now we're seeing a ton of companies advertise their true RMS power, which is just so much better. But hopefully they'll change that out to show the RMS power on there here soon. And then in here we have the dual tinsel leads sewn into the Spider. Again, very similar to what was on the XFL and the Elite Series sub. Now, I do wish that these had the flat tinsel leads going across. This is just more of a personal preference, but I really do like just the big beefy flat tinsel leads. So when compared to the XFL, the main difference that I see is that we have a different foam surround. We have a different motor, a much bigger motor, and a little higher RMS power rating. The XFL is either 1,000 or 1,500 watts. I've seen them advertised both ways. I think mine said 1,000 on it, but I do think they may have bumped it up to 1,500 watts. Who knows? Either way, still an awesome sub. Well, guys, without further ado, let's get this thing in the box so we can start testing it out and letting it break in. Just a quick comparison, guys. This is the Dead Game Huracan sub that I did in a previous video. Really awesome sub. But as far as size goes, these two subs are just about identical, so I thought it'd be kind of cool just to compare them. Just so y'all can just kind of take a look at that. Yeah, guys, super interesting, but I think it's time to get this boy in this box and get the testing her out. Alright, guys, we have had this thing in here for quite some time now. Been letting it break in. So far, it is doing awesome. Of course, as I expected from a American bass, just a great, awesome budget banger. Anyway, yeah, it's been doing great, but it is time to get down to some testing. Of course, we're gonna play some songs so y'all can kind of hear and see how it moves and what it sounds like. And then we're going to do a dB test just to see how loud we can get it in this box. And then we're going to do a RMS test. We have this AMM1 right here. It'll tell us the actual watts that are going to the sub so we can see how it does related to its RMS power and see if it'll make it through a full bass heavy song. Anyway, guys, let's get to it. Guys, it does awesome. Y'all know I just love American bass, and for 270 bucks, this thing gets down, taking a ton of power, rattling the entire car, and just sounding awesome. Even with those really low notes, it does really, really good, guys. All right, well, let's do the dB test and see at 40 hertz how loud we can get this thing. All right, guys, 142.7 for our first try, and that was putting over 5,000 watts through it. That was a 143.9, and that says we put 10,000 watts going through it, guys. That is ridiculous. Guys, 10,000 watts, that is nuts. But, of course, this is a 12K amp, and that only rose to about 1.3 ohms, so maybe that is true. I'm going to turn it one click down on the head unit because it was maxing out the sub, and we'll see if we can break that 144. Woo! 144.5. And there again, guys, look at that. 9,952 watts. Well, guys, that is awesome. 144.5. That is a great score, and this sub, at least in a burst, took a ton of power. Super, super impressed with it, guys, and I think that's the first time I've got this amp up to 10,000 watts in a video, so guys, very exciting. So in doing those dB tests, something must have came a little loose in there, because I was going to do the RMS test. You can just hear it kind of making a weird sound, so I'm going to pull it out real quick and inspect it. Maybe spider came a little loose or something, I'm not sure, but yeah, let's get this thing out and see. So guys, in doing that dB test, the bottom spider came detached from the former. You can see it right there. Now, of course, I was putting way too much power to this, so that is my fault. So it's definitely not American Bass's fault, but the coil itself is just fine, so no issues there. Again, that was my fault. Now, that being said, before you all comment and say it, yes, I have been letting this sub break in for about a week now, maybe even a little more. So, as far as that's concerned, it's not a break-in issue. It's just I put too much power and over-skirted it. But, hey, it looks like it still is usable for the video. It just won't sound great. So, I guess we'll try the RMS test, see if it makes it through that. This thing is rated at 2,000 watts, so we're going to try to keep it around there as close as we can. Now, that being said, since the spider is messed up, this could lead to failure sooner than would have been expected just because of that. So if it happens, again, might not be the coil's fault necessarily. But anyway, guys, we're going to go through a full song and see how it does. Even with the spider being broken, and you can hear the sub smacking, it still made it through the RMS test no problem. I do feel a little bit of heat on the dust cap, but nothing out of the ordinary. And there was a faint smell getting towards the last minute of the song or so, but nothing really strong at all, no smoke or anything like that. The coil still looks totally fine, so I'd say it passed the 2,000 watt RMS test. Guys, it did really pretty good. Was overall very impressed. Other than the spider going on me, the sub did awesome. Well, anyway, guys, my overall impression of this sub is it is an awesome sub, especially if you're a little more budget-minded. For 270 bucks, you're getting a big old meaty sub that can take a ton of power and do really, really well. It's been in this car for over a week. I've been just smashing on it every day to and from work and driving all around, and it's done really good, and it sounded awesome, guys. I do want to reiterate, putting over 10,000 watts through this sub, and all we did was tear the bottom spider. Top spider is still totally fine. Coil, still totally fine. It didn't max out. There's no like dimples on the cone or anything. So putting over 10,000 watts through it, only thing that failed was the bottom spider. So I would say, guys, that is overall pretty awesome. And we got a pretty loud score with it. So I think it did really pretty good. That being said, guys, if you were doing a bunch of really hardcore SPL with this thing, do know maybe the spiders aren't as good as they could be. Now, your average person isn't going to be putting 10,000 watt bursts through these things, but if you were doing SPL, maybe you would be. So maybe this would be the sub you wouldn't want to go with. But for an everyday, more kind of budget-minded, big old beefy banger, this thing was awesome, guys. I really enjoyed it. Definitely love American bass. And again, you're getting a lot for your money with a sub like this. And again, even with it messed up, we made it through the 2,000 watt RMS test, no problem. Anyway, guys, thank y'all so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I will leave a link in the description below to where you can pick up this sub. That is an affiliate link, so should you purchase it or anything else on eBay or Amazon through those links, it really helps out the channel. Anyway, guys, I appreciate y'all. Stay tuned for the next video, which I believe is going to be the Scar VXF. So stay tuned for that, guys. Not going to want to miss it. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your day.